So you have four choices. You have Michael Jackson, you have Daft Punk, you have Beyonce, and last but not least, you have Celine Dion. And you're tasked with only keeping one of them alive. Which one you picking?
Wow, those are the really difficult questions.
Yeah, I think for me, I would keep. Oh, it's so hard because Daft Punk have paved such a big way in like electronic music and the kind of music that we've been making. But then also, Beyonce is literally a legend, and she's a born performer. She's practiced her whole life. I don't know, and she's an inspirational woman to me, really. Celine Dion, I'm sure she's inspirational to some people.
Are you going to see Beyonce as well?
I literally,
Oh my god, cute. Yeah, I reckon I'd go with Beyonce. To be honest, I don't listen to any of them too much, but yeah, probably Beyonce.
Yeah, I feel like for me it's a real toss up between Michael Jackson and Daft Punk, but I think I listened to a lot of Michael Jackson tunes when I was very young, so I would probably go with him.
nice.
I see. Well, they're all influential people in their own rights, and still very much active to this day. Not as much in terms of, mainstream music goes, but Daft Punk in particular, they still have a lot of songwriting credits to their names, which is pretty cool to see, even though technically the Daft Punk project has been put to the grave.
Yeah, I think it really works when other artists write music for other artists, and then you'd be surprised how many, like top chart songs are written by other really, really famous people. And you would have thought that they would just keep that tune, but there's a lot of money in ghostwriting, so probably why.
Definitely. And Quincy Jones. Sorry, I was going to say Quincy Jones, the producer of all the Michael Jackson albums. He's an absolute legend as well. For all the instrumentals he's created, he is a forefront of pop music and dance music and disco music.
Yeah, I would agree too. I feel like, for me, I never really looked at, music as a thing where you have to pick and choose which you like and which you don't like. I think everyone across the board has contributions to make, and it's part of the ongoing effort here at Whiz, to be honest. I think one of the cornerstones of what makes music enjoyable, at least for me, is this idea that you can go back through the archive and figure out the linking dots between people or between genres or even between countries in terms of, the artists that overlap. And this leads to my second question, actually. Have you heard the collab between J. Cole and J-Hope yet?
No.
Yeah, I think
No, between J.
yeah,
Cole.
I love J. Cole. Oh, sorry, go on, Tom.
Go on, Tom.
Sorry, I was just saying between J. Cole and who was the other artist you said?
J-Hope.
No, I haven't heard that. Is that just a song or a series of songs?
It's a song called On the Street, and as of today, the music video itself already has close to 20 million views on YouTube.
Wow. When was it released?
Come again?
When was it released? Sorry.
About a week ago, give or take.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've had the
Okay.
song. I think J. Cole was sick.
That's some fucking stuff.
Yeah, loved J. Cole for a long time.
So yeah, this sort of leads to my point, right? This idea that music is a fairly vast ecosystem, and that for those that perhaps are not as savvy in terms of knowing what to look for or how to find them, this is really what I'm hoping anyway Whisper evolves into over time, which is why I've been going out of my way to document big acts and small acts alike for me.
Yeah, that's really cool. Thank you so much for having us on. How did you
Good stuff. Well, thank you very much for giving us a platform to be part of.
Yeah, of course, of course. But yeah, on that note, let's really get this going proper. I'm going to start with you three as a triad. Like, what's that about? Are you a band? Are you a group, or are you just a bunch of independent music producers that just got together to make one project? Like, what's up with that?
So me and Maeve have known each other for years. We went and studied together, actually. We studied in London at a place called Guildhall School of Music and Drama. And we both did, well, Maeve is a brilliant theatre maker and poet and writer. And whereas I'm a singer-songwriter, performer, and I also do music teaching as well. So we've always used those skills to be able to like collaborate and have fun with it, really. It was always just a matter of making fun, fun songs, political songs as well. We really love to kind of express ourselves through the art forms that we have. So we've always done freestyles and put YouTube beats on. And with Tom, actually, Tom shot a music video that I've got out there with a rapper called Chazza, who's really quite big in Australia. He's called I Am Chazza, and we hired Tom to shoot our music video for us. And he did such a great job that we always just stayed in touch with him. And then me and Maeve ended up putting out this song, just a short, soft acoustic version of something that we'd collaborated on. And out of the blue, I get a message from Tom, and he was like, hope you don't mind, but I've just created a remix of this Instagram reel and SoundCloud song that you've just posted. Do you want to hear it? And I was like, oh, go on then, because I didn't even really realize that Tom did music like that. Tom is multi-talented, obviously, and he showed it to me, and I was so excited. I couldn't believe it, really. I was like, what? Off your own back. So yeah, we're all just really great friends. We're all great friends, and that's how we came together and got the song started. We're not necessarily a band, but this is definitely not the last of the collaborations for us, that's for sure.
Yeah, I guess the way that we sort of came together was a massive coincidence, really. But when I first met Rosie through the music video, I'd only been in London for about 3 months or so, and I basically did the way I got there was I did a gig. I was working with another artist, and I did a show with her. And then the promoter of that show asked me to do some videography, and the first job he asked me to do was to shoot this music video that happened to have Rosie in it. And so I feel very grateful to have connected in that way, and to have also connected to Maedb through Rosie as well. So I feel like the whole story has kind of, we've linked up through a lot by chance, really, and it's been pretty amazing that we've managed to collaborate on a song and also become very close and good friends from it as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's been really beautiful working with Tom and Rosie. And as Rosie was saying, I'm predominantly like a writer, and I write plays, but also a poet. But Rosie's been, kind of my into making music and stuff. So I only really make music with her. We sort of do like poetry style stuff where I do poetry and she sings. And that's been awesome. And we've just been freestyling for years and stuff. And it was really cool that Tom came on board and remade our song into like a banger, because it's something really beautiful in the way that the work has transformed. Because Rosie and I wrote that song after I'd got out of a long relationship, and Rosie was also having a hard time, and just put it on Instagram, and then Tom sort of turned this like sad moment into a feel good anthem, and I think there's something really special and beautiful about that.
Yeah, I think it was just a kind of beautiful coincidence, really. And I mean, Tom is a sax player as well as a electronic music producer, and he's got a lot of music out there in his own right. And so the fact that he approached us, I think it was even nicer the fact that he didn't wait to get a confirmation about it. He didn't like ask if he could do it. Not that he would ever need to, And I think that's always the beauty in using social media as a way to connect with people as well, because nowadays it happens on TikTok a lot. You see people making their own verses of somebody's song. You see people like duetting and stitching different like songs together and making their own versions, and I think that's a really efficient way to work as well, is like not waiting for permission to be creative. I think is like really important, because we've all come from systems and stuff where you have to ask for things and have to wait for things, and So I think the way that Tom has just gone about and created this remix off his own back, I feel like that really kind of added to the excitement of the project as well.
I see. So off the bat, one thing that I think is worth mentioning, the way your music was introduced onto my radar was through this aggregator, if you will, known as the Crunchy Beat. They've been very consistent in terms of providing little known music gems to their followers, including myself, obviously. And yeah, like I think, again, part of the mission here at Whisper is to really ensure that we do the same thing, but on a more larger scale, because Instagram is just one platform. And since, here we're based on basically every platform that's worth paying attention to, disseminating that content to allow potential fans to find you is really critical in what we aim to do. And I was curious to know what you thought about, getting a placement on a major playlist by a major account on Instagram. Like, how did that come to be? And what are your impressions of this? And we'll start with Tom.
Yeah, so I had followed Crunchy Beat, I think was the playlist for a while, and I came across him because he had featured an artist called there's a really big artist over here who blew up on TikTok, but they're called Tommy and Piri, and there's a song by them called On and On. And I noticed that he'd picked up on that, and it had got a lot of good ratings off of his playlist that he had added it to. As a fan of the song, I felt like I drew a lot of inspiration from like the melodies, but also from like the high tempo sort of garage jungle style that they had for this song. And so having remembered that, I once I'd finished the song and we were looking to put it out there and get it to as many people as possible, I just submitted it to their Instagram. I just sent him a DM and just said, "Hi, my name's Tom. I've been working on this song with these two wonderful artists, and it sounded a bit like the sort of sound that you were interested in from playing Tommy and Piri on your playlist. Would you be interested in taking a listen?" And I don't think they ever responded. I think they acknowledged the message came through on their Instagram, but I didn't hear anything from them after that until about a week or so later when I saw the video had been put up for their playlist called Shit's Got Potential, which was a real surprise, but also really exciting to hear that we'd been acknowledged through, like, my message had been acknowledged and added to that playlist as well. So yeah, it was just a simple DM to end it, really.
So off the bat, let's acknowledge the fact that more than ever before, the power of putting yourself out there resides in the hand of not a record label or corporation, but a person. I'm assuming that the account is ran by a person, but more than likely they're a team. But the point I'm making is, through the power exposure, and community building, you are able to be put on the map. And for me, that's really important. And I think musicians and fans alike have a responsibility in, ensuring that what's being put out there finds its audience, especially since a lot of the algorithm nowadays is heavy on the music usage, because of TikTok's influence. And we'll definitely touch on that later on. But I think I do want to hear as well from Rosie and Maedb about, this whole placement thing and how that occurred and how you feel about it.
So, I was genuinely really happy with all the feedback and all the support that we've got from the song. We've been played on the radio over here a couple of times. We've been played on Essex Radio and BBC Radio Cornwall as well. So it's had a really good response. A couple of independent radio shows as well. So when I'd heard that it had been put onto, a playlist, because we've been put on a couple of playlists, it's just such a lovely feeling because, I myself haven't put out any singles for a while. So to be able to get this kind of reaction was really lovely. And then, hearing the fact that you approached us as well, Kitty, really made us feel quite good about it, because it's always difficult trying to, release a song when you're an independent musician as well. And hoping that people will get the same kind of feelings from the music as you do. And, you know, so, when we saw that the Crunchy Beat guys had picked it up and then put on a playlist and that you enjoyed it as well, I mean, it's just a blessing, really, because it's hard to create a social media presence sometimes when I feel like everything's quite oversaturated nowadays on TikTok, you know. So, it's quite, I feel like we were quite lucky with the support on this one.
Just to echo everything Rosie said, the response from the song has been amazing, and it's pretty awesome that Tom's managed to get us playlisted, and through Tom we were able to be on BBC. Also, we all got a radio play each, and to be honest, this is the first bit of music I've ever put out, so to get such a big response has been really exciting. And just the power of social media is mad, isn't it?
Perhaps now, EDM as a genre traces its roots in Black culture and Black music. So I wanted to get their inputs from, having these UK-based artists over there, like doing, carving their path into the scene and releasing their songs, and how I feel about the culture expanding worldwide, man.
It's definitely, you can definitely see the impact. For example, you have UK drill. And drill music has its roots into Chicago, Illinois. But when I hear UK drill, I'm like, God damn, they getting turned over there in England, you know what I'm saying? So when you talk about the impact, just Black culture in general on music, and you look at the Asian hip-hop groups, the Japanese, they got Japanese drill music now. And I'm starting to see that influx of just drill music in general as a genre, and then how that correlates to EDM is like the impact just from Black American culture to overseas. And it's like, I don't even speak French, don't even understand the language that much, but I hear French drill on an American type beat, and that shit just get my head nodding back and forth. I don't know what I'm listening to lyrically, but it sounds good. And for me personally, I'm music as I am in culinary and cooking, but for someone who works in I've been exposed to different genres of music just through my line of work, and I could definitely, from a personal experience, I can tell you the impact that it has. But for me personally, I have to get EDM a try. I have to get EDM actually listen to. I haven't had any type of venues where I was contracted to work at an EDM type concert, but so I really can't speak too much on that. But I can say, when it comes to drill music and the way that the impact it has in the UK is definitely not to be undermined for sure. That sound, the aggressiveness, the 808 beats, when that shit drop on hard speakers in your car, it just gets you moving though, for real. And I even put some like Moneybag Yo, he featured like a UK drill artist. And I got exposed to Skrillex. I don't know if you heard of Skrillex, but I heard of him. He DJ'd for one of my favorite rappers, Rick Ross. So, Skrillex is just a phenomenal producer. So, but I definitely like the impact that it has, and I've definitely Black culture and the music is definitely starting to get its flowers for sure. Yeah, I know you said something about TikTok, because even now, this independent artist, I'm an independent artist, and when you attach a video to a TikTok song, that TikTok has definitely changed the way streaming and video music works in general. Because you get a viral song and it's loop, you should get financial compensation. The artist should. I definitely think that for sure. Because now when I listen to the radio, I'm hearing viral TikTok songs. That's the impact that it has on the radio. And that's how I listen to the radio. I'm just, oh, wow, I heard this song on TikTok. Now it's being played on the radio. And I think they go hand in hand for sure. They can definitely push an independent artist without any help from a label, any outside sources. The power of social media in general can propel an independent artist's career, just viral culture, And I think you can give credit, that's to Soulja Boy. He was doing that in 2005, 2006. Before TikTok, before Vine, before Snapchat, just creating videos, making his own beats, uploading to the internet, YouTube, and it was just taking off. Had the whole world doing this dance, so, which is also a Black American pioneer for viral culture. So, but it's just my little 2 cents in it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. I think a lot of what you pointed out hints at the different eras that the music industry has gone through. Mentioning, Soldier Boy specifically, I very much remember that, like it was yesterday. This idea that people were swapping MP3s back and forth on LimeWire and all that stuff. He took big advantage of that wave pretty early on, so that people not only knew his sound but knew his brand. And
Yeah, I mean, it's mad. To be honest, I'm not fully a musician, so but I know TikTok has the power to get out, to get your music out there, and it's mad. But I also feel like it's a bit crazy because you're all so oversaturated, and there's only a chance in a small chance that you're gonna blow. And it's this idea that if you put stuff out on TikTok, I know when we first started making our song, we were like, we're gonna make loads of content, and that's the way you push it on TikTok. We push it on Instagram, and obviously we've got a good response, but I think predominantly the main response has been through getting playlists or, sending stuff to radio stations and stuff like that. So I worry that it's just the music industry and the creative industry anyway is already super oversaturated. And so social media, although it does have the power to push your music, it also contributes to the oversaturation.
I see. Really, you came back, so I assume you had some thoughts before you got knocked off by our Lord and Savior Elon Musk.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Sorry about that. I had some connection issues, but I'm back now. Just to echo kind of what we were saying about how a lot of these artists. I mean, it's funny that you mentioned Soldier Boy because he was really popping back in the day when I was in school, and he's been coming up a lot more again recently, and I feel like that's happened with quite a few artists, that who necessarily I might have listened to back in the day in the 2000s or 2010s, that have kind of had their rebirth through TikTok, almost. But yeah, I definitely agree with what Maeve said. It can get a bit oversaturated sometimes, and that's scary. I think that's the scary part of releasing music. So yeah, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's all about how much you commit to the process and putting out the music and how much you want it, really. I remember as soon as I left the education systems that I was in, it was a big slap in the face for me to be like, oh, if I want something, I have to go get it. If I want to do something, then I have to make it happen. And people can be very lucky on TikTok. They can post a video and it can blow up. And the guy from America was saying, he has heard loads of TikTok songs that are just on the radio now, that have just blown up, and it's just become a TikTok song. And that's the case over here as well. A lot of the chart music is music that has popped off from TikTok. Sometimes I wonder if it will have the same kind of heyday as Vine, how Vine kind of came and went. But it was like a really massive culture thing back in the day. Sometimes I do wonder if that will be like the same as TikTok, but also for some reason I have this weird feeling that this app will probably be around for a long time, and we'll probably end up having like TikTok TV, just like we have a Netflix streaming service. And I don't know, the world works in mysterious ways, doesn't it? So, but yeah.
Well, I think the way that things are going now, with the internet creating so many opportunities across the board, from whether you're someone small in your bedroom or you are even like a massive artist, I think it's really leveling the playing field. And I guess what's pretty amazing about that is that you don't have to have the major resources to what a label would bring to push out a song. I think what's kind of crazy is that you really need a limited resources to kind of push out what you want, which I think is amazing. But yeah, I think now especially with like the way that our song is being kind of received through like these avenues. I mean, I've been putting out songs, like limited a number of songs, but the ones I have put out, I've not been probably fully like facilitated through the means that we have. And I feel like this song has been the one that I've really tried to push for across all the kind of barriers, all the kind of social media opportunities, and realizing the power of it, and I guess kind of like navigating it in a way that will it kind of, I guess, trying to navigate it in a way that will impact people from not only like people that could be around me, or at least in the same area, but worldwide, to be come down to this conversation that we're having and these interactions through you, Kitty, reaching out to us. I would never in my wildest dreams think that like something like this could happen, or I could connect with someone, or the song that we worked on so hard would connect us with people that we would never probably cross paths with in the physical world. So I feel like, in a way, like connecting the emotion of music to the way social media has made it spread, whether it's our song, whether it's other people's songs, I think it's really beautiful in what it does to connect people ultimately, which is what music is there for. I don't know if that truly answers your question, but that's just my interpretation of it.
No, I got you, my man. That does lead me into something I want to ask the panel in general about. And we'll go with show of hands for that one. So, what about social media as a toolkit? And that includes, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and all the likes. What about these platforms would you like to see improved from your vantage point as creatives?
I personally would I think social media censors you a lot, and especially as a woman. I run a performing arts company, and it's sex positive, and but it's a art company that uses art as activism, and we're constantly shadow banned and censored. And I can literally see the results in I'll sell loads of tickets at one event and there'll be great engagement on the post, but then another day we'll be shadow banned because there'll be too much skin on a woman or something, and it really actually impacts our business in real time and the ticket sales and stuff like that. And that's an event, a platform for female artists on, so constant is struggling with censorship and stuff like that. I would like that to change. And also for that, because I own a limited company that's an arts company, and that exists in the real world. But the way I make my money is through, using social media, but that's not tied to the limited company, and I could be deplatformed at any minute. So that's something I'd like to see change. And I don't know if you've seen the Instagram account, but they did an experiment where they posted male nipples and nothing got removed. But female bodies are constantly being censored. So as a female artist, that's something that concerns me and is a very real problem.
Rosie, any following thoughts?
Yeah, just to say what we was kind of saying about earlier, is that everything is, very easily accessible. And I think something I'd like to see improved maybe is specific places for people to connect a bit more specifically, I suppose, because TikTok can be reached by people far and wide. I think in terms of having a better more safety and more privacy online as well, because I've got with our song out, I'm really proud of the song, but also I'm a music teacher in my day job, so there's always access for children to access the music that I've got out there, and it's not always the best. So I don't know really what I'd like to see change about social media. I think maybe just hopefully we can take less from it in terms of music that's been made on TikTok and then is right on the charts. I think less of the 5 minutes of fame kind of aspect that social media gives. Hopefully that might could change one day. But yeah, I think that's me, I think.
I would say I think authenticity and community. I think people now have they've got a good understanding, a good grip on how to read people in terms of their authenticity and whether something is legit, because I think a lot of social media has a bit of a filter over it, but I think ways that we can kind of create a more authentic space that is more true to that person, whether they're a musician, an artist, or someone within a sphere who's trying to project something that's true to themselves and in the form of art for us. I feel like that's important to highlight. And then I guess with community having more sort of tools to help us get through maybe difficult scenarios and the way social media can impact mental health as well. But that's a very strong topic in itself that I feel like I can't warrant to like even get into now. But yeah, I think those kind of tools would definitely help people, creators, and also people who consume a lot of social media too.
So, speaking of social media, I do want to bring attention to a recent event that is currently brewing in the music industry, specifically the EDM circles. So what's happening is an artist recently has been on the hot stove, if you will, to say the least, because it turns out that some of their releases, or a majority of them, from the looks of things, has been essentially lifted from a sample pack. But not only that, they've been recreated one to one as a copy from that sample pack demo. And it's causing quite a lot of stir in the circle of producers and performers alike, in the sense that what justifies, sampling usage, or what justifies, like so-called industry relevance in terms of, what gives an artist a precedence to do something that most people would get called out for. So to really kind of like give you context, you can see a tweet above, pinned on top, that essentially covers, the summary, if you will, of what is going on in the artist and the labels involved. And I kind of wanted to hear from you in terms of sampling usage, since your music features quite a lot of samples. From what I can tell, I hear a lot of voices in there. I hear a lot of speaking things too, as in, just people casually speaking, and all the little subtle things I'm not too sure about. But yeah, like, it seems to me that sampling currently is making the rounds as like, do you love it? Do you hate it? So what's the consensus here? And we'll start with Rosie for that one.
Cool. Well, I think sampling is such a cool way to make music, really. I mean, I've just finished teaching the kids at my school about that, actually, because they're all obsessed with, Ariana Grande's Seven Rings, but they don't realize that it comes from a really old musical Sound of Music, and then it's interesting to see how new artists can use music that, has been used way back, and then they're kind of like reviving those old songs. I think sampling's great. I love sampling. We don't have any sampling in our song because it's all original lyrics. I guess you could say we sampled the YouTube beat that me and Maedb wrote to initially, and then Tom made like a massive positive change in it when he did his remix. Yeah, I think sampling is wonderful. We don't necessarily have much sampling in our song, because it's all like original stuff, but I think sampling definitely can like help music come to life and revive old music, and I mean, even Central C's just released a song using Let Her Go by Passenger, and I haven't heard from Passenger in years. So, that's, it's nice. It must be nice for them. But yeah.
So off the bat, I'm noticing that you have a different vantage point of what sampling even is. Because to me, sampling is simply using an audio in a project, whether it's, originally made by yourself or someone else. But it seems to you that sampling is exclusively catering towards using someone else's material. So yeah, that's interesting. Maedb, you next. Go ahead.
Where I'm coming at, so as like I mentioned earlier, my practice is mainly in like writing and theatre making. But I think sampling with music, you can apply that to different art forms, and it's kind of beautiful because you're repurposing something that's already existed as a piece of art and transforming it into something new. So that's one way that I can sort of understand sampling, and I think it's really cool. I think the danger with it is when musicians are sampling it, or it happens to all of us. We listen to a track and we think it's sick. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but but we don't know where it's originally come from. For example, an artist I love is like Lana Del Rey. And she's definitely released a few song like Summer Wine, which I loved, but Go Back, it's by Nancy Sinatra and stuff like that. So I think, you know, the danger with it is that, you know, the initial artist isn't being recognized. But I do love the idea of taking something and transforming it into something new. Randomly, this is like complete off the topic thing, but I think it was in Mexico, but there was like this artist that took all of the guns that were used in the war and made them into musical instruments. I think that's kind of cool, the idea of like repurposing stuff. Anyway, back to sampling, but that's what made me think of it.
I guess I was very skeptical in the beginning when it came to sampling, because I thought it was the element of cheating almost. And then I remember watching randomly on YouTube, there was these compilation videos of like people or artists that had sampled in their original sample and then the song. And I just came across like so many huge songs that I'd listened to and loved, and realizing that they had come from it wasn't originated by that person, it come from something else. And it kind of really opened up my mind to the idea of like I guess I was surprised by it, but also in the same way now I've come to appreciate that music can be reinterpreted and can also have a new lease of life, which I think has been massive for a lot of artists when it comes to like the side of re-exposing that old song or the original. But I think it's especially in the independent world, it's hard because you need to attribute where you get your sampling, where you get your samples from. And so sometimes you need to be careful if you're not, you've got to be sure to credit the right person, and be careful that you're not taking away anyone's credibility or even, the financial side that comes from it. But I think an interpolation, as well as sampling, can create something that is special for both sides. But I think you just have to be kind of respectful in the way that you do that, and kind of give credit, especially to not only to the other artists, but also the culture from where that comes from. So I think that's equally important to share when you're sampling, when you're using samples throughout music.
The music discussion and the copyright discussion are very different things. So I'm sure any artist will feel some type of way if bigger acts just lift aspects of their craft and claims it for themselves, In that case, that will be a copyright issue, not a sampling issue. So I very much agree on that front. As far as, the content of, the song itself that you folks have published on the panel, I've noticed that there's a lot of the lyrics, for example, like they mention things that I don't typically hear in music. You've mentioned rent at some point in your song, which is pretty interesting because music tends to be on the glamorous side of things, expensive cars and, traveling and all that stuff. But this was a really down to earth kind of like, lyrical context to just throw in there. And that personally threw me off. So I wanted to gain more insights about the reasoning and the decision behind, going that route as opposed to the typical let's have fun and party and buy a Gucci bag and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure. So the verses I wrote, I think as a poet, I write like just about my life, and it would feel weird to write about expensive cars if I don't own them, or, living the high life if I'm not. And writing for me has always been like a safe space, and it's how I process stuff. And it's, writing's been a coping mechanism. So it wouldn't make sense for me to like talk about smashing life and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe I should write about that more. Yeah, it feels more authentic to write about that stuff. And yeah, I don't know, I feel like it's not music for clout, do you know what I mean? It's just music to express feelings and process experiences. And it was genuinely a beautiful time that I shared with Rosie, and like figuring out how I felt at that time and processing what my life had been. I just lost a 4-year relationship, and it's like, that's kind of what the song was doing. I was healing that and like figuring out where to go next in my life. And yeah, it's beautiful that the song has got it's transformed, and Tom's transformed it, and now it has a whole new life and a whole new meaning. And I think that's why art is really beautiful, and it has the power to, heal us and transform experiences. And, I also feel like writing, it's like taking a picture of memories with words, and I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah, so it's lovely that you speak about the lyrics, actually. Thank you for taking the time to listen to them, because, as songwriters and as musicians, we put a lot of time and effort into, our music. And for me especially, I'm sure everybody can relate as well, but, it's kind of like writing a diary entry. It's like putting all your heart out on a plate, really. So when when the lyrics are received in the way that you intend them to be, it really is special. For me personally, I don't tend to enjoy writing, soppy love songs or things that will, make me feel sad. I like to try and write from an empowered point of view, like a reflective point of view. And I feel like this song really encapsulates the healing that me and Maeve had to do. And the writing just came easy, really, and I think that's also, as being artists from London as well, I think we capture the nitty-gritty side of living, and the nitty-gritty side of, what it's like to fall in love in a city like this. When you've got to pay rent, you've still got to find your own way, you've still got to, you've got things like addictions flowing in and out of your life. You've got friends coming and going, you've got relationships coming and going, and with all of that going on, you're just still trying to stay afloat. And this song, music helps me stay afloat, really. So I feel like this song really speaks not only to an audience, and people who want to relate to it, but I think it speaks to like the grittiness of living in London, and the heartbreak that you can feel through life here, really. But it's great that people, although from overseas, can love it too.
My process in all this didn't really come from the lyric writing, but what I would say is that what drew me to it was those lyrics. It was specifically the line, I think a part of me will always be yours, is what really drew me to the song. And I think it just, the way I guess it was spoken and I guess it was sung, was the way, like, that's what really resonated with me. And yeah, I think much as what Maeve and Rosie have already said, like, you speak from the experience, and I think the experiences have spoken to a lot of people who have been who have felt those emotions. So yeah, I think these two are truly wonderful songwriters, and you need to keep your eyes and ears on them, because they've got so much more to come. I just want to take this opportunity as well to say thank you very much, Kitty, for considering us and taking us through our songwriting journey.
I do have one last question for you, as far as, what you think about, success. Like, is success for you more in the how many gigs you get, or like what the financial aspect of what that means, or is it more in the following count? Because everyone seems to have a different answer across the board.
For me, a measure of success is being able to go on tour and perform my music to, the masses. I think that, it's all good and well having, loads of views on TikTok, social media. It's all good and well, having albums and things like that. But to create like a genuine fan base and be able to do shows and people want to come and see you, I think that's a great measure of success. That, and being able to afford a taxi whenever I want.
Yeah, to echo what Rosie said, 100%. I think the first poetry gig I ever did, I shared some experience, and a 40-year-old woman came up to me and shared something that happened to her, and she'd never told anyone. And I think that was the moment I fell in love with like performing and poetry and stuff like that. And I think art really does have the power to, this is going to sound so like wanky, but like to change the world in a way, like meaningful change, like even if it impacts, like one person you're speaking to, or it triggers a conversation, or, I don't know, that to me is success, like making a real impact in people's lives. Obviously there's like career success that I want and achieving like certain goals that I have. But yeah, I don't know, just for people to hear my art and to be well respected in the scene that I'm in. I don't really care about being famous, but I want my work to be out there and respected, and yeah, people to just hear it and just to connect with other artists and stuff like that.
How can I put this? I guess success in a way for me I guess I would look at it not from like a massive public success from I need everyone to know who I am, but I think I would define it from the impact, like Maeve has been saying, like the impact that you have even on one person. Like if our song was to even like change how someone perceives something, or the way like someone would listen to something, like if that changed even one person's life, then that would be really amazing. And I think for the consistency of making more music and continuing to, if there was the success of that would be like, if there was a platform to continue, being seen within an industry, if I was asked to do more things and to work even more and to kind of be asked to collaborate with more people, then I think I would deem that a big success than any kind of monetary or like, award praise value that I would get from anything else in life.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, folks, for coming in. Very much I appreciated the insights that you provided, and I do hope you do make some more music, because, like I said, what you put out, the material I was introduced to, was a solid punch to the ears, into the guts, into the heart, and I very much look forward to seeing more of it. And I'm sure there are fans worldwide that would appreciate so as well. So, Rosie, Maedb, and Tom, thanks again, and good luck with the show tonight.
Thank you so much for having us, Kitty. It was lovely to connect with you. And yeah, best of luck with everything you're doing. And it's really cool that you're creating this platform to connect with artists and supporting up and coming artists. So big up.